Hey guys, what's up? It's TFNut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Star Wars The Black Series Target exclusive Star Wars The Clone Wars versions of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. A lot of people, myself included, dread Target exclusives, and this is a bit of a controversial release of figures because a lot of people wanted these exact versions of these characters, as well as Hawk and ARC Trooper Echo, which I'll review Echo in a separate video. But Target exclusives are just a pain to get sometimes. Really, for me, most of the time. And for some people, a little bit easier than others. But I have to admit, Hasbro, I think, did a little bit of a better job rolling out these releases. They were able to stock these properly at certain stores. I found like 5 Echoes at one store, but not really anything else. But I got lucky when I was up at 3 a.m. and ordered 3 of the figures I want. These 2, as well as Echo. I didn't really want Hawk. Maybe I'll get him eventually if I find him in stores. But I'm pretty happy just to have, 3 of these, and I'm pretty lucky, honestly, I can be able to do the review here. So let's go ahead and just get right into the packaging. It's very cool packaging, and makes me not want to open this at all. But we do have basically 2008 style of the toy line when it comes to this packaging. Here's a Star Wars in blue, the Clone Wars, as well as the Clone Troopers helmet as part of the design. The figures in the box, it has the character names on the front, the 50th Lucasfilm logo right there, a warning right there on the bottom left for a choking hazard, and then you can see here the CG characters for the show right there on the front of the box. When we get to the back here, towards the top, it does say Star Wars The Clone Wars, as well as the characters' names. And then we get to the middle here, it has 50th Lucasfilm Limited, as well as a timeline of pretty much everything released within Lucasfilm and whatnot, at least with the Star Wars stuff. It does say commemorate the 50 years of Lucasfilm with figures inspired by Star Wars The Clone Wars. We do have multilingual warnings right here, and right here on the very bottom are barcodes if you need them. Left is Obi-Wan, right is Anakin. Let's go ahead and get these figures out of the packaging. So here are both figures out of the packaging, and these are awesome. I dig them a lot. They do have their problems. Each of them have unique problems, and I think I have a QC issue on my Obi-Wan. Is Anakin supposed to be taller than Obi-Wan? You can see right there he is definitely taller. I have no idea. I don't remember. But it's not the biggest deal to me right now if he's, they're supposed to be the same height or whatever. These are sick. We're going to talk about Obi-Wan first, then we'll take a look at Anakin. We have his classic lightsaber here with a nice little peg right there that goes into his belt, which I'll show off in a second. We do have a blue saber piece here that does pop in and out pretty easily. Looking at the hilt here, this looks really great with a nice gold on there as well as metallic silver. Both of those are metallic, as well as the black on there. I have no idea what it's supposed to be molded in, what color. Maybe it's molded in black, but it looks really good. And this is a nice translucent blue plastic that we are pretty much familiar with by now with Black Series. Little hole right there on the front of them. Then you just try to peg that in as best as you can. And voila, it stays in there pretty nicely. A little bit of hair right there. It looks pretty good. I'll back up there. You get a little bit of a better look. So this head sculpt we have gotten before. And we got that with the Walgreens version, which I do have on me. I'll show in a second. This is what Ewan McGregor looks like next to the figure right there. I think it's a pretty good likeness, not 100%, but pretty close. And I mean, people are like, why aren't we getting it the way he looks in the Clone Wars and the CG? But I mean, they did have different looks. They're going for the more realistic interpretation here, which I'm not entirely opposed to. This is the Walgreens exclusive Obi-Wan that we had a while ago, which is just on a clone body. I do think it was done a little bit better on here. I like that there's more paint on the face. Actually makes him look a little bit, I don't know if I would say realistic. There is definitely detailed though. The hair is definitely a lot more detailed, but overall it's essentially the same sculpt, and it's still pretty good. This just looks awesome. Look at the eyes looking right at you. That is very clean, and there's no splotch at all. I think one of his eyes or eyebrows is raised just a little bit, which is pretty good. And we do have nice sculpting on the beard. Could have a little bit better paint, of course. They attempted some paint, not amazing though. And there is no paint. Really, I don't think there is any paint at all. Maybe the tiniest bit of a wash in his hair here. But overall, man, great head sculpt. Now, I think the torso is new, at least the upper torso. Definitely this part here with the soft plastic overlay. Now, there's a little bit of white paint splotching. It's a little bright. White paint splotching onto his, his uniform. his robes. Definitely on the back here too. But we do also have some details, as you can see. I have to keep turning the brightness down. On the front there with a little bit of some nice lines. And the rest of the paint is actually pretty decent. It's just very much a basic white paint where it's molded in this color right here of the robes. So I think the neck doesn't have any paint splotching, which is a good thing. Yeah, I have no idea if this is a new sculpt for a neck. But we do have some good articulation there, which we'll talk about in a second, of course. Turn the brightness back up a tiny bit. It's too much. These arms are reused from Clone Troopers that we got last year. Definitely, as you can see right there, the newer clones. Now, this is a soft plastic piece. This shoulder pad is also a soft plastic piece. But I'll talk about the articulation again in a second. But it will get in the way a little bit of articulation. We'll try to give you some good views of the inside here of the arms, which have some nice details, as you can see, with nice lines going on in the underpiece. I have no idea where this sculpt comes from. If this is reused, this black piece underneath the robes, unless that's just completely unique. There is some pretty good wrinkles in the robes there too. Then the clone armor here, I do like. It warps a little bit up here because, you know, when you keep it in a certain pose, it may warp. We do have some sculpting like on the gauntlet right there. Not really any paint going on though. These hands, I do believe, were reused. I don't know if they are. They're definitely reused from the new clones. I don't know if the new clones use the old clones' hands though. Now, looking at how deep that cut is, where the joint is exposed right there in the hand, that's my biggest complaint for my particular figure. It's very stiff. Not stiff, I'm sorry, loose. The complete opposite is stiff. Going down here, it's very loose. And then going up, it just doesn't... There's just this weird cut of the plastic there where it looks all chewed up and whatnot. It's very worrisome. If I have to, I will be forced to use other clones' hands for this, unfortunately. But, oh well. I mean, it's not great. Definitely not great. But it's something that can sort of be eventually fixed if it keeps becoming a problem. And these elbow pads are glued onto there. Let's get to the lower torso. I've been talking about the upper torso a lot. I don't know if these are also reused. They could very well be, and I wouldn't blame them for reusing these, especially if it's from a previous Obi-Wan here. We do have a little bit of detail going on in the rest of the robes and the lower torso, with a little bit of paint on the front here. It's not the greatest, but it's still attempted, and I still like this little hole right there. The brown, of course, it's painted in brown, is this lighter brown right there on the front. Now, the lower legs are also from the newer clones, but the upper legs, where you get to the hips, I have never seen these before. And these are really cool. You can see the outer part of the thighs. They are looked a little bit more smoothed off with some lines there, whereas this is all lines going straight down. And then we get to the bottom of the feet here, which again, these are reused from previous clones. And the knees here, I don't like this system here, honestly, anymore. Where it does not... It should definitely be glued onto the knee. I know the articulation is going to get hindered because, that way. But I do think the old clones did that a little bit better. I would have liked if you just gave us thigh swivel here and double jointed knees here with the knee pad right there. Because I don't like that the knee pad does not move with the knee. So that's a little annoying. Sculpt overall, I mean, there's not much paint going on the white there. Yeah, it's very glossy, but still pretty good. You can definitely tell because there's this big cut in the back here of the feet. That these are the new ones, because these new figures, you know, the new clones can really go down with the feet, whereas the previous ones really cannot. That's what the front of the feet for Obi-Wan looks like. So let's do a quick 360. Lots, I don't know how much, I wouldn't say lots, but definitely a good amount of reuse, which I don't blame it for. The way he looked, he definitely had some clone stuff on. We'd also, I'll talk about that in a second, this quick 360 look. Reused tag, which I don't mind. I think some new stuff with the torso. I forgot to mention the cool, a little bit scratched up Jedi logo on this shoulder pad. Articulation is pretty basic, at least with new Black Series. We have a ball joint here at the head and also in the neck going into the body. So you get all this range of motion side to side, forward and back, which actually is pretty good. And of course, all the way around. We do have butterfly joints. Right here, arms go all the way around. That's how far I mean, you could definitely try to push it up a little bit, even go outside like that, which I don't think is natural. But when you're doing that, that's as far as the arms can go, which is okay. Now I don't know how the hell to get that in there. Okay, good. We do have an upper arm swivel right here, where you get the bend at the elbow, and it's a single joint, unfortunately, which goes just a little bit 90 because this gets in the way. This may eventually fall off because you keep crunching it, you know. But we do get a bend and a swivel, like I just said. Swivel at this wrist. The hands for this one go up and down here at the right. We do get in and out here at the left one, which these... I'm not going to attempt that right now. I think you can remove the hands. Try to use hot water if you can. Waist swivel, which is pretty tight on mine, so be careful. Forward, back, side to side. Not the greatest amount of waist articulation. This is a soft plastic, so it kind of gets in the way of the leg articulation, but it does go forward, somewhat back, in and out actually really well. We do get the upper thigh swivel up here, as you can see. We do get a bend at the knee, which is a single joint, and we do get a swivel at the knee, down right there. That's as far down as it goes. That's really good, actually. And that's as far up as it goes, and we do get ankle rockers. So once again, just like Obi-Wan, we do have Anakin's signature lightsaber, which has been passed down through the years, of course. Same thing with Obi-Wan. I have no idea if this is a reused sculpt, anything new that they're doing. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. If it's reused, it still looks pretty good. We have some nice black there. A little peg that sticks out that clips into his belt. Silver, red, and gold on here looks great. And we do have this translucent blue plastic for the saber piece, which does also, this one's giving me a little bit more trouble. It's longer, actually, than Obi-Wan's. So it does pop out, though. Now, just like Obi-Wan's, trying to do this where I can focus it. We do have, because I don't have autofocus on. Just, this one's giving me a little bit more trouble. The hole might be a little bit smaller, but you will eventually just plug it in like so, just like Obi-Wan. So both of these very much have a similar approach to their accessories. Now, a good amount of people, and sort of myself included, have a bit of a problem with the head sculpt. It just doesn't really look like Hayden Christensen. To me, though, it's not that big of a deal. I at least think it looks... it's a recognizable Anakin. This is Anakin Skywalker. I think they were trying just to balance a little bit of realistic with cartoon, but it just doesn't really look like Hayden Christensen at all. But you have the episode 2 version. That one doesn't really look like it at all either, honestly. Maybe a little bit closer because of the eyes, but these do look like two completely different people. But I mean, this is not a perfect likeness. Forget about the 2014 version. I don't know. I don't own the archive version of that one, so I can't compare, sadly, and I don't have the original 2014 one with me to compare. Look how many times we've gotten Luke Skywalker and they still don't nail the likeness down to a T. So this, to me, just looks like Anakin Skywalker, and I think it's fine. There is actually some sculpting, as you can see, on the scar of his face. You in order to try to focus up, in order to actually feel it, you have to really touch it. And the paint, it's kind of hard to see in the light. It's not perfectly on the sculpt. However, you have to really notice it close for it to bug you. And I don't notice it that much now, so it's not that big of a complaint. A little bit of something big splotch you can see right there underneath the lip. That's weird. A little bit of a line you can see right there on the cheek. That looks like a splotch too. I don't know what's going on there. It's not super noticeable though. It does blend in with the skin tone. I think the sculpting on this hair and the paint is a little bit better than Obi-Wan. My hand's a little shaky, but yeah, there's definitely some paint layered on there, and it looks really good. I can't tell you if they're reusing the same necks. That would be interesting if they were, and honestly, I would not care. So I'll back up here. They do have a little bit of reuse, mostly with each other, and it's the outer layer right here with that chest armor and the robes. Now, not the under part here with the sculpt, as you can see right there. I am moving my backdrop. Right there, there's some lines going on there in the sculpt. This is more of a little bit of some wrinkles and some smoothness going on there with Obi-Wan. I want to say that there might be some reuse with the upper arms. I could be completely wrong, but the way that the wrinkles are molded on there are very similar. Definitely reuse with the legs. As you can see right here, there's that line going all the way down his leg right there with the wrinkles, and the boots are even pretty much the same. I want to say this could be actually a little bit smaller compared to this. So I don't actually know what entirely is reused. If there is reuse, I don't really mind that much because what they do have new on here is pretty new. And I have not seen this armor of the, well, we haven't seen this armor yet, but there's some other things like the soft goods, the hand. So I really have to try to get back in here. Let's see. So I do think that the paint's actually pretty nicely layered onto the upper part of the chest. I don't think it splotches as bad as Obi-Wan's right there. The white bled onto the outfit. These are definitely similar colors, not the same of course, but if there is splotching on there, I don't think it would be as noticeable. The robes on the outside are pretty nice with some nice wrinkles, as you can see, and then we do have some nice wrinkles with some nice fabric lines and details going on throughout there. I have not seen this hand before. I don't know if it was reused from like the episode 3 one or what. Actually, I think there was a bare hand on there on the episode 3 one. So this, I do believe, is a new sculpt. Pretty nice hand, though. Let me know if this has been reused before, because there is some armor, as you can see, on the outside of the hand. Now, there is some paint I noticed missing. There should be some silver right there on the outside of his forearm, but there is some brown, as you can see, underneath and on top for his prosthetic hand. Very similar sculpt to the other hand. Now, they do have trigger fingers, actually. But he still holds his lightsaber pretty well. We have a little bit of some gold on the front here on the belt, which is also painted in brown there. And there's even some more of this gold right there on the sides. That hole for the lightsaber, of course. Soft goods. Hasbro really likes to skimp out. Or, yeah, I don't know what the term I was trying to say was. We don't get soft goods that much anymore. So here on this guy, it looks very nice. And it's nicely tailored. You can kind of lift up a little bit so you can get a little bit better look at the lower legs right there, which is mostly like this dark maroon mold right there with some lines sculpted, and these brown boots, which I do also believe are molded in brown, and I believe they painted the maroon right there. Now, we did have some better paint. It was a little splotchy, but we had some better paint, as you can see on the episode. We had mostly just actual paint on the episode 2 one. But a little inconsistent in some areas. So, I don't know. I do wish there was some more paint actually on this one. But if it was going to look inconsistent, I think it looks fine as it is. So the top of the feet look like with the boots. That's what the back looks like. They do have a little bit of some actual sculpting on the back of the joints there. That's what the bottom of the feet look like. So, overall, I think they did a great job. This and Obi-Wan's, those are my favorite looks for them. So, the way that they did it in figure form here, I think is pretty neat. Pretty much the same articulation as Obi-Wan. You do have head right there that has a ball joint. Neck doesn't want to move that much, but it does go side to side. The hair is a little longer, so the up is a little bit hindered. Not too much though. Down is pretty okay. And side to side, of course. We did, like I said, inter-moving, separate moving shoulder pieces here. But we do have forward and back right there for the butterfly joint. Arms go all the way around. They go in and out that much. Oh boy, I just messed that up. You can see pretty much a 90-degree bend, a little bit over. We do have a swivel there. I do wish that the elbows were a little bit better. Swivel here at the wrist. Hinge goes forward and back. This is both hands. Swivel here, which mine is pretty tight. I'm going to be very careful. And the fabric wants to stick out, sadly. So you're going to want to be careful with that. Forward, back, side to side, all that, whatnot. Legs can go forward. Thank God for this. This right here is a harder plastic, but the leg articulation I think is a little bit better and not as hindered here because of the soft goods. So thank God for that. If that's how forward it went, that's how back it went. Side to side like this. Upper thigh swivel is a little bit tight on the right leg, better on the left leg. We do get double joint knees right there, which is hard to bend for mine for some reason. And then we do have up, down, ankle rocker right there. So for some quick size comparisons, last year we got the episode 2 versions of Anakin and Obi-Wan. I have them right here with their Clone Wars counterparts. I'm guessing Obi-Wan is going to be a little bit shorter than Anakin, because even though the episode 2 Anakin is a little bit shorter than the Clone Wars version, which makes sense, he's an older version now, they're both going to be a little bit taller than both versions of Obi-Wan here. Both of them are about the same size with each other. Now, when it comes to a normal size Marvel Legends, like the Retro Spider-Man there on the left, it's going to be a little bit taller than Black Series, of course, except for Darth Vader, who's pretty tall there. he towers over the rest of these figures here. So overall, I am very happy with these figures. They're not perfect. They have flaws with each of them. Some things I wish that they did differently overall. Some things that annoy me with my individual figures, just my particular ones. But I can't help but like these Target exclusives. I mean, usually the Target exclusives are pretty good. They're just hard to get. I got lucky and got them. A lot of people also got lucky. Hopefully, people will continue to get lucky and more will come out. Hopefully, Hasbro will see the demand for these and do something about it. Make sure as many people can get these as possible. Both are really nice. I like the unique parts that they have on here. The reuse, I think, is fine. Obi-Wan's, I think, it's using a previous clone trooper, so some of it, I don't know. Over time, I started seeing people's criticisms with the new clone body a little bit more and starting to agree a little bit. But I think it works overall, just not perfectly. But the head sculpt is awesome. The articulation is pretty good overall. Same thing with Anakin. I actually like Anakin, I think, a little bit more than Obi-Wan because some of the reuse parts that they both have, I think, are both done completely fine. And some of the more unique parts on Anakin, I think, are just a little bit better. There's appropriate amount of reuse for him as well. Not perfect figures for a little bit over $25, but they are very awesome. And these are the versions of these characters I have been wanting for a very long time, and I know a lot of us have too. Again, $25, Target exclusives. I'll leave links down in the description below if they hopefully restock in the future. But right now, they're pretty much sold out. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figures, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I will see you guys later.